Hey guys, Tampa J here. I'm going to be quiet for most of this, but here in Oldsmar, Florida, about to witness their annual Veterans Day Memorial Celebration and ceremony. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Much ahead.
Like a good spot.
Great spot. Hey Rob, welcome. What's up, buddy? They're about ready to start here. They're about to start. Thanks for joining me, guys. Stay warm, Rob. Stay warm. Hey, Wes. What's up, buddy? I need to turn up the volume a little bit. Yes.
I have to start over. Good morning and welcome to the 2017 City of Oldsmar Veterans Day ceremony. My name is Dave Kilkey, a member of your Veterans Advisory Committee here in the City of Oldsmar. And there are a few things to go over before we actually start the program. First off is our brick program. Those of you that are new here, first timers, I think you'll agree this is a wonderful park, a beautiful monument that we have. And we have all these bricks down here, and most of them are plain bricks. But for only $100, you can get your name on there, the name of a loved one. You could put it on there to honor someone, in memory of someone, or just to support the City of Oldsmar's veterans programs that we put on here at the park. After the ceremony, I will be over near the hot dogs, because I know that's probably where a lot of you will.
I was thinking the same thing.
I'll have the forms over there that you can fill out today, or you can take with you, or I can answer any questions you have about the brick program. Most of the ones that are engraved are already up in this area up here, so after the ceremony, please feel free to have a look at them, and maybe you'll make the decision to support us here in the park. Next item I have is another little housekeeping item. Back in 2008, and then followed up in 2009, President Bush signed an executive order as part of the Defense Authorization Act, which authorized veterans, all veterans, to present with a hand salute when the flag is being presented or when the national anthem is being played. You do not have to be in uniform, you do not have to be covered. As a proud veteran, you should be proud to present that salute. So please understand, it is authorized by law. Those of you that didn't know that have seen people in civilian clothes saluting. That is the reason why we are proud to be veterans, and we're proud to present that salute. The last thing, every veteran has heard this before. It's the oath of enlistment that's done. The one I'm going to read is for enlisted personnel. The one for officers is extremely similar. But those of you that have never heard it, I want you to understand what every veteran swears to when they enlist. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to the regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. With that, we will begin, and I'd like to introduce Councilmember Jerry Beaver.
Thank you, Dave. Thank everyone here that has come out on this beautiful day to this beautiful Veterans Park to celebrate, to honor every veteran that has put on a uniform since the Revolutionary War. I don't care, none of us care, only that you are a veteran. You didn't have to serve in a war to be a veteran, many have. But those veterans that are serving on the 38th parallel to keep us safe deserve this day as any veteran is honored this day. Those veterans all over the world that stand up for that flag during peacetime, during combat time, or any time. We honor you. We praise you. And more than that, we thank you. I'm standing here today, a free man with my beautiful wife of 63 years, because of millions of veterans that have went before me and stood up for me, put their lives on the line for me. I cannot thank you enough. I wouldn't even begin to. I want to thank everybody that has come here today to honor the United States of America veterans. Thank you. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful park. What a beautiful city.
What took you so long?
We've been doing this in the city of Oldsmar for 21 years. Long before other cities even thought about it. I'd like to recognize some of our dignitaries. First of all, an incredible friend of mine, an incredible friend of the city of Oldsmar, is our incredible senator from Tallahassee, and hopefully the next governor of Florida, Jack LaValle. Went to bat at Tallahassee. You know how Tallahassee can be sometimes. He's went to bat for this city many times and got us a lot of money. Thank you, Jack. I want to introduce a guy that I've known for a long time. I shouldn't even say this, but I'm going to say it. Politics doesn't belong in anywhere. I don't like Republicans, I don't like Democrats, I don't like anybody. But one of my good friends was Mike Rackets. Of course, now Mike's a Republican, and that's fine. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a Democrat to be on Mike's Veterans Committee. So I went and talked to this guy named Frank Chicola. And I said, and I went to Mike and said, Mike, I got you a Democrat. And Mike says, great, bring him on. They sat there and changed on me. But anyway. Anybody that knows Frank knows what he's done for the veterans of the East Coast of Florida, the West Coast of Florida. Sweetheart, I do know where I live. But you didn't help me up there. Frank, thank you. I am going to introduce our Veterans Committee. It should be him and not me. Before I introduce the Veterans Committee, I've got one I want to introduce that I talked him into coming out here today. He's the manager of the DAV National Service Office at Bay Pines Regional Office. He's the one that when I do all these claims, I send him there, I pick up the phone, I say, help me out on this, walk it upstairs, do whatever. Dan Anderson. On the Veterans Committee, Dave Tilkey, myself, Frank Chicola, Mark Brill, who's the vice chair, Don Ruckett, who's the chair, John, I'm sorry, and Jerry Walters, who's been around a long time, Cass City Council. Jerry Walters has been around for a long time. Well, the only other person that's been on council over, I don't know, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago besides me. I would like to recognize, if you'd stand please, the Gold Star families. No, when you stand, stand. Their families of veterans who has given their all to you and me. I'd like to have all of the Purple Heart recipients to stand. Has received as many as 3 Purple Hearts. How much more can we give? Now, this is what this is all about. All veterans stand. This is what this day is all about. Thank you all. Now, we have those politicians. Mayor Beavis and keep standing. That's the only time they're going to be able to.
You can boss me around?
Yeah. They just sit there and stare at politicians. Vice Mayor Saraki. Gabby McGee. Eric Seidel. Then, as usual, bringing up the tail end, me. They're not really bad people. And our new city manager, Al Breathwaite. Where's Alicia? To give thanks to anyone, to Felicia and all of her staff to put all this together.
Looks like someone collapsed.
Now I would like to
Hope he's all right.
thank the staff for what they've done to put this together. Now I'd like to introduce our incredible city attorney.
He's over here.
Everybody stand for the invitation. And then following the invitation, bring out the presentation forms. I heard something that's just happened in the back here. Hoping we'll still be able to do that. And that will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem led by Nolan Marshall. So if you could remain standing, please. Our Heavenly Father, today we're gathered to honor our veterans, worthy men and women who gave their best when they were called upon to serve and protect the country. We pray that you will bless them for their unselfish service, bless them abundantly for the hardships that they have faced and for the sacrifices that they have made. We respect them, we thank them, we honor them, we are proud of them. We pray that you will watch over these special men and women and bless them with peace and happiness. This we pray. Amen. Amen. Please remain standing for the presentation of colors. American Legion Post 238. Standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, sailors, that star-spangled banner yet wave, for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Please be seated. Now I'd like to introduce to you, everyone already knows, our Mayor, Doug Beavis.
I got to tell you, I could hear that song 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Thank you, Nolan. You do a great job as always. And to stand here and listen to it echo underneath this tent is absolutely incredible. And I think this is probably the biggest crowd that we've had at this ceremony, so thank you for coming out. I always say this, it's great to see the parents that bring out the kids to be a part of this and be a part of this veteran ceremony. Walk up and talk to one of these veterans, hear a story. It could change your life, definitely. So thank you for coming. We want to especially thank our veterans who have joined us today in Oldsmar at Veterans Memorial Park to honor all of our veterans that fought to protect our freedoms and to recognize the men and women whose names have been added to the walls behind me. Kind of a beginning to end. While working on my speech on Tuesday here at the park, I was sitting right over there working on my speech. I had my laptop with me and I watched the swearing in of new Air Force recruits from New York. I watched young men and women from various ethnic backgrounds as they took the oath voluntarily, stepping forward to defend and protect our country and possibly pay the ultimate price to keep our country safe and free, truly touching, and we pray for their safe return. On the other side of that, I was also invited this week to Nielsen for a veteran ceremony, as were our other council members and our city manager and our Chamber of Commerce. It was a very touching ceremony where they recognized the veterans that are employees of Nielsen. They ended the ceremony with a fictional story of a typical family dinner. The family consisted of grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, and a daughter. The grandpa and the father served in the military, as was the son. They set the table and even set a place for the son. They remembered him by setting a place for him, but turning his glass upside down and tipping his chair forward. It really made an effect on all of us, on our lives, and to have a better appreciation for not only our veterans, but also for our veterans' families that give up so much when someone goes off to defend our freedoms. They miss the birth of children, weddings, birthdays, graduation, and even things as simple as family dinners that we often take for granted. We stagger at the eternal debt we owe to the untold number of American veterans who choose to set aside their personal ambitions and dreams to assure the well-being of our great nation. We, the living, are indeed the beneficiaries of those who made tremendous sacrifices for the advancement of safety of our liberty. Most Americans profess to truly love our veterans, especially at gatherings like this on Veterans Day and Memorial Day. And while their feelings are usually sincere, it is important to remember that veterans are defending us 365 days a year. Their heroism that has been demonstrated time and again by veterans from the American Revolution to the global war on terrorism is sometimes unnoticed by those of us who enjoy the security that our sacrifices are provided. Our debt to these heroes can never be repaid, but our gratitude and respect must last forever. For many veterans, our nation was important enough to endure long separations from their families, miss the births of their children, freeze in sub-zero temperatures, bake in wild jungles, lose limbs, and far too often, lose their lives. Military spouses have had to endure career interruptions, frequent changes of address, and disproportionate share of parental responsibility. The children often had to deal with changes in school, separation from friends, and hardest of all, uncertainty of whether mom or dad will live through their next combat tour. You cannot fight a war without veterans, and while the idea of a society without war is appealing, let us not forget that wars have liberated slaves, stopped genocide, and toppled terrorists. Stephen Ambrosia once wrote, "America's wars have been like rungs on a ladder by which it rose to greatness. No other country has triumphed so long, so consistently, or on such a vast scale through force of arms." It has been often said that without our veterans, Americans would be speaking Russian, German, or perhaps even Japanese. Regardless of which view of alternative history you take, we do know that without our veterans, America would not be America. And as we look at the Middle East today, we know that there is a large, dangerous, and committed group of fanatics that want us dead. And while ISIS and Al-Qaeda and our terrorists may lack the conventional weapons of Nazi Germany or Imperial Japan, they are every bit as evil in their intentions. Homelessness is another issue that affects veterans disproportionately. Too often today's tattered citizens of the street was yesterday's toast of the town in a crisp uniform with rows of shining medals. This is hardly the thanks of a grateful nation. We can do better. We must do better. So no matter which branch of the military you served, whether you served in peacetime or wartime, no matter your job path, your rank, or how many years you served, raising your hand and committing yourself to service in the military was a brave and selfless act. Because of you, those still serving today, Americans can sleep peacefully at night. When these men and women return home or a service member hangs up their uniform one final time, the call to service does not end abruptly. A veteran's service has no expiration date. We should be grateful not only for their time in the military, but for all they do to continue to give back to their country and its citizens long after the discharge is signed. So thank you for taking the time to remember our heroes. They never gave up on us, and we can never give up on them. God bless you all. Bless our veterans both here today and around the world. And most of all, God bless the United States of America. And it's my distinct pleasure to introduce a friend of mine, the next governor of the state of Florida, Senator Jack Latvala.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Good morning. It's a privilege for Connie and I to be here with you today. It's a beautiful day. And I'm glad to have the opportunity to join in showing our appreciation for our veterans. You know, I try to make this service every year because, you know, Oldsmar, of the 7 communities that I represent, is the one that I think acknowledges and pays the most attention to this important day. And the crowd gets bigger every year, and by all means, this is the largest crowd that I ever remember seeing. So you live in a wonderful community. Oldsmar is a wonderful community. It's been my privilege to represent Oldsmar in the Florida Senate. This past week, I started my 16th year of representing Oldsmar in the Florida Senate. And I will never intentionally dishonor this district or this community as your senator. It's been a rough week. I thought long and hard about whether I wanted to come out here this morning. I canceled being a parade marshal in Anna Maria Island, a big Veterans Day parade yesterday, because I don't want to be the distraction. It's your day. It's Veterans Day. So I don't want to be a distraction. I just want to be a participant in honoring these very, very fine people. I have had the opportunity through the years to serve with a lot of politicians. And I can tell you that I've never seen a politician yet, including me, that could hold a candle to what our veterans do for our country and the sacrifices that the veterans' families have made. None of us can rank up there with what you've done for our country. We talk a lot, but you've been there when we've needed you. We need to acknowledge that. And we need to work on issues that are important out there. He mentioned homelessness. A large part of our homeless population are veterans. I have also tried to emphasize mental health. Florida right now ranks 50th in the spending in the United States on mental health. And a lot of homelessness and a lot of other problems, drug addiction and so forth, is related to our lack of proper attention to mental health. This today is my last Oldsmar Veterans Day as your senator. You know, we hit term limits again, and I'm not coming back. So next year in November, when Veterans Day falls, I will have left the Florida Senate. But as long as I have a breath or can take a breath as a member of state government in any capacity in Florida, I'm going to fight for veterans. I'm going to work on homelessness. I'm going to work on mental health. I'm going to work on economic opportunities. I'm going to work on having your posts be able to have a little bit of an incentive to be able to make some money to keep these posts open with the gaming that's been shut down over the last several years. I had an amendment that we passed in the Senate last year that would have allowed VFW and American Legion posts to do a little bit of the kind of things that they need to make money to be able to stay open as a place where veterans can get together, enjoy each other, and in fellowship. So I'm going to still work on those things. And I just want to say again, thank you very much for the opportunity to be your senator. I love this community. I love Jerry people. Thank you.
So this may be your last veterans ceremony as a senator, but can I get a promise from you that this will be your first ceremony as our governor? Duly noted. I'll hold you to that too. I would like to introduce our Vice Mayor, Dan Saracki.
Good morning, everyone. I am honored to stand here before you today to introduce our guest speaker. Before I do that, from the Congress of the United States House of Representatives, Gus Billeracus sent us a letter to the city of Oldsmar, and he wanted to tell you, everyone, have a wonderful Veterans Day. With that, I want to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Candace Stewart-Sabin. She is a graduate of the University of South Florida with a BA degree in psychology. She graduated from California School of Psychology and the University of Oklahoma Health Services Center with a PhD in clinical psychology. Dr. Stewart-Sabin has a spouse, David, and 4 sons, 1 deceased. 3 of her sons were in combat veterans, and her grandson finished 2 tours in Afghanistan. He is currently separating from the Army due to wounds sustained from an IED. Dr. Stewart-Sabin is currently licensed in the state of Florida as a clinical psychologist. She recently retired from the Veterans Administration, where she worked as a clinical psychologist serving combat stress, traumatic brain injury, and chronically mentally ill veterans. Upon her retirement, she co-created with Frank Chicola and aided in the development of the Vet2, Vet Reconnect Inc. for veterans, where she currently serves on the board as co-chair. Dr. Stewart-Sabin has dedicated her career to providing treatment for support for veterans and Native American Indians in Florida, New Mexico, and Oklahoma. In addition, Dr. Stewart Savin works with a contractor with emergent care psychologist where she does emergency evaluations in several hospitals in Pinellas County, personal and enrichment mental health services, and the Pinellas County Jail. She has encountered many veterans that are evaluated these local mental health facilities and provides support services. Please welcome Dr. Candace Stewart Savin.
Okay, I gotta get prepared. Now I have a pretty soft voice, so I want to make sure you can hear me. Okay, so a little addition to my speech, which I'm going to start with before I do my talk. And I'm going to get all ready here, and I'm going to record this speech. So bear with me. Okay, here we go. First of all, thank you, Vice Mayor, for that very beautiful introduction. I don't know if I deserve all that, but thank you. I want to thank you that are here today for the honor and privilege to speak before such a wonderful group of veterans and your families and others, to all who share in this very special day, to each and every one of you, and certainly to myself and to my family. But before I get started on a fairly long speech, I'm a psychologist, what can I say? I really want to recognize, I am the co-chair and co-creator with Frank Chicola, who I love with all my heart, and his wonderful wife, Nancy. I wanted to just notice some people who are in here that are with Vet-to-Vet Reconnect, who are absolutely foundational. So I want to begin with Frank Chicola, who's a director and co-creator. Frank. I want to thank Dan Anderson, who's our past chairman. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. I was looking in the audience and I didn't know they were all going to be here. They surprised me, so I'm going to surprise them. So I want to introduce the peers, the peer-to-peers, their wives, who have helped me really put the nuts and bolts together. And I want to start with Bonnie Lee Braun, and I'd like her to stand up. There she is. She is a wife of a veteran whom I love very much, and she has done wonderful. And I'd like also for Peggy Kern to stand up. She also is a wife of a veteran and wonderful. And we have to give all these wives, you know what? A lot of thank you and a lot of prayers. Then I also want to thank Ed Boyce, Eddie Boyce, stand up. He's also going to be one of my reps, who I've known for a long time and has been a great supporter of mine. And I also want to recognize Bobby Ross, who is our peer-to-peer coordinator, who's out in the field, finding those veterans and bringing them to us. And I'm very proud of him. He's come a long ways, folks. And then I just want to say a moment about our chairman, Keith Collins, who's really brought us a long ways. And without him, I don't know how far we'd be today, but I'm very thankful. He cannot be here, and we send he and his wife a lot of prayers. So with that, thank you for allowing me to do that. I just love these people, and without them, I wouldn't be, this place wouldn't be running right now. So first of all, I want to do a disclaimer. You might already know all this, but I must warn you that I do not have a teleprompter to keep me on script, so I can talk forever, and we'll try to be focused. and I mean forever. So I have my little beloved David right over there. He's going to put a finger up, and I'm going to move on. And he's going to go like this. Well, I need to shut up. If not, I just get into it because believe me, I got a lot of passion. I am a storyteller, and I am a keeper of stories for others. And sometimes I will be the only one that knows a veteran's story. You know, I've had World War II veterans come in only to talk to me and give me their whole story that nobody else ever hears. And they see me one more time and say, thanks, Doc. I just needed you to listen to this. I needed someone to hear me before I left this world. And that's why I am a keeper of stories. I may never tell those stories again because they were told in confidence, but I hold them in my heart every day. So today is about stories, not just my own, but a couple others that have had an impact on me on the recent years. So I am going to talk a little bit about post-traumatic stress, something very dear to me. And but then I'm going to tell you some stories that I've been allowed to tell, given permission to tell. Because I believe without the stories, none of us will really understand what we need to help with mental health, especially in this state, and our beautiful, beautiful veterans and their families to keep them together. So as a psychologist, I can talk till the cows come home. So as I said, my husband has reminded me that the mind can only take in what the behind can endure. So I will do my best to keep that in mind. And once in a while I take a drink of water too, because I talk so much. So let me give you a little background of myself. For those of you who don't know me, allow me to tell you something of myself and my connection with veterans, both as a mother, wife, daughter, granddaughter, and psychologist for over 30 years. We are a family of veterans. My grandfather served in World War II. My father, peacetime. And my husband, he was kicked out of the Navy, not because he misbehaved, he just couldn't hear very well, but he spent the rest of the time in National Guards. My husband and I have 5 sons, with 1 deceased. 3 of our sons were combat veterans, as one of our grandsons, who is now the 4th generation veteran in our family. From World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Persian Gulf, Bosnia, Afghanistan, and other conflicts, I feel as I have seen it all, and as a psychologist who has worked with combat, non-combat veterans and their families, I have seen firsthand the survivor wounds of those veterans and their families that experience post-traumatic stress, and to its extreme, resulting in suicide. Not to leave out that many Vietnam veterans that have died early from Agent Orange, they also had survivor wounds and lost their lives. However, post-traumatic stress contributes to many types of death, not just suicide. Many, because post-traumatic stress over a long period of time, treated or not treated, breaks the body down, and it's the secondary cause of death in many of our veterans. Most of you probably have never looked at it that way, but it's a serious. I don't want to say disorder because I don't see it as a mental illness. And that is why as a community we need to be, I'm sorry, I lost my place. And that is why as a community we need to be well informed by post-traumatic stress. When I get passionate, sometimes I lose my place, so hang in there with me. Today I'm going to speak about post-traumatic stress up close and personal. The main reasons for this approach is to help the veterans, their families, and the community to create more empathy and understanding where the veteran is coming from, especially upon returning from war. And yes, I said veterans. Many veterans do not have empathy for themselves, or believe they deserve a good life, or just cannot forgive themselves. This is just some of the reasons that veterans tell me. I don't deserve to have a wife. I don't deserve to have a good family. And at the extreme, I don't deserve deserve continuing to live. Because having post-traumatic stress can change behavior in negative ways like mood swings, erratic behavior, depression, anxiety, flashbacks, lack of sleep, numbing. Numbing is one of the hardest ones, and that is the inability to feel their heart. That's what keeps them surviving in the field, is shutting that heart down. But sometimes when it's shut down too long, they don't know how to open it back up. And when they come back, they can't feel love, they can't receive love. And that's what treatment does for them. It's help open up their hearts in order for them to learn how to feel once more. And this presents a real dilemma to the veteran with the post-traumatic stress trying to fit back in society. Personally, I do not see post-traumatic stress as a mental illness, no, as the symptom of survival illness. Once out of the service, those everyday people the veteran will be in contact with, which will not have real understanding of post-traumatic stress, other than what they have read or heard about. You can imagine how this impacts their social interaction. Picture in your mind for a moment a few examples, and many of you in here will recognize these, and many of your wives will recognize these. The hypervigilance in the restaurant, perhaps noted by the waitress, when you insist on having a table facing the door and back to the wall, and of course immediately looking at all the escape routes. Or the checkout clerk in the grocery store wondering, is the young man in the fatigues or army t-shirt waiting in line that is so agitated and impatient going to be a problem? Or a supervisor reprimanding a worker over attitude problems, working with other workers. We know some veterans don't play well with others. Or who has trouble with taking orders. This is especially true when there is an aggressive behavior in the workplace that triggers the vet's own tendency to survive and react with aggression. They do not see a vet who may be having a flashback or dealing with emotional problems that are overwhelming. What they see or perpetuate is a belief that they are unstable, volatile, and some just strange or crazy. And I hate to say how many veterans have sat with me and told me their symptoms and said, Doc, am I crazy? I think I'm going crazy. And I'll say, no, you're not going crazy. Let me tell you what is happening. And it's such a relief and such a joy to watch their eyes change when they learn that this is a normal part of post-traumatic stress. Interesting, many veterans, and most of those in the public, have little or wrong information about post-traumatic stress. In fact, many may not even know they have post-traumatic stress and do not understand their behaviors at times, believing they are going crazy. Many of you here today know what it's like to have post-traumatic stress and the feeling of being out of control. I call it the brain has hijacked you. You have been hijacked by your brain. The post-traumatic stress takes over. Majority of you know what the internet describes as what post-traumatic stress is, what the symptoms are, and of course how to treat it. Most of the internet gives a few VA treatment options and sometimes more. However, it takes so much more than getting the dysfunctional thoughts corrected and releasing some of the emotions. That is what cognitive reprocessing therapy does over the long exposure. Many of you may have had those treatments and other VA treatments. It helps for a while, but just let one serious event happen in that veteran's life, and that post-traumatic stress will return. However, vets that have mild to moderate post-traumatic stress can only truly benefit from those treatments and have great success. Experience has shown me this. If someone is ever going to truly understand post-traumatic stress and recognize the stigma that is attached to it, they will do so when it becomes personal, when it becomes a part of their life, when your past comes out of those dreams and nightmares you've been having, but it invades your home, your marriage, your children, and your friends. That is when one becomes challenged by their behavior, that don't understand or know what to do. At this moment, some marriages and families dissolve. And vet to vet reconnect, we don't want that to happen. We don't want to lose families. We want to keep them together. Not really understanding and not really understanding what's happening. I tell you, as a grandmother and a mother of combat veterans who have had and still have post-traumatic stress, as a psychologist who has worked with post-traumatic stress sufferers for over 30 years, once post-traumatic stress becomes personal, and then only then can you begin to come to grips with it, both as one who can help and one who can offer help. I have touched lightly on the issues of post-traumatic stress. It is a complicated life issue that requires a holistic approach, one that heals the body, the mind, the emotions, and the spiritual dilemma that is many times the core of all those other issues. So as I promised now, just a little bit on post-traumatic stress, so you can understand my stories. And now I'm going to start with some stories. This first one is very hard for me, because it's extremely personal. And so please, just indulge me. This is Candace's story. That's my name, Candace. I would like to share some four brief personal experiences today to provide you a real-life picture of post-traumatic stress, what post-traumatic stress is and can do to bring both grief and hope to your life. So I'm going to give you 2 stories of despair and 2 stories of hope, because that's what we want. We want to know about the despair, but we certainly want to have hope. I begin telling you a story about myself. I had a difficult child, like many of us that were raised or were decent raised in the 60s, and also suffered a devastating car accident at 17. I went through 5 years of facial surgeries to be able to look normal again. And in my early 20s, I remember my hands shaking and friends saying, "What is wrong with you?" It was so embarrassing to me. I could not stop it. It was an internal anxiousness that was indescribable. How I would jump if someone came up behind me. Extreme anxiety, anger, and constant agitation were the nightmares and flashbacks that made me feel crazy. I believed I was crazy, and at times I acted so. However, at the age of 33, I began to walk into help and hope. I spent 7 years of therapy to change my dysfunctional thinkings and beliefs about myself and the world around me. In addition, with the wonderful people who I allowed to enter my life. There is a saying the Navajo people have, you only are as sick as your secrets that you keep. The elders say the longer you keep secrets, the deeper the spiritual illness becomes. Secrets is the core of post-traumatic stress and the main barrier. I did the majority of my spiritual healing with American Indians. That was invaluable. They taught me the value of looking at my spiritual life to improve understanding of myself. I decided to tackle this demon head on once I knew what it was, because I was young with 2 children and a widow. They needed me, however at times that was not enough to keep me going. I tried every alternative therapy I could find. Some were weird, others great relief. However, I stand here today before you as a person with post-traumatic stress, talking to you, a group of mostly strangers. And I made it through college at later age than most. I took years of help by many, and I stand here as a fully functional survivor of post-traumatic stress. And I have a little story that I'd like to share to let you know I'm highly functional, have post-traumatic stress, and those demons can come back sometimes. Just, I think 7 days ago, my poor beloved David, who has been with me for 33 years, I was in brushing my teeth, my head down in the sink. I was deep in thought. You know how we get deep in thought and we don't even know anything's around us. He came up, couldn't hear it because I have one of those real loud toothbrushes. He put his hand on my back. I screamed and I almost punched him out. That's what post-traumatic stress can do. And I said, "Oh my God, Dave, you know better than to walk up behind me." He said, "But I thought you knew I was here." I said, "No, I thought you were in the other room." It doesn't take much. I was just deep in thought. But that's how it is. That's what we have to live with. Hypervigilance is sometimes the hardest thing to get rid of from post-traumatic stress. But it can be managed, because I promise not to punch any of you out. This is the first public forum that I have ever acknowledged that I have probably wonder, what does this has to do with veterans? Well, a lot. One, I was raised by a father and grandfather with post-traumatic stress. This impacted my life significantly. I never knew how much until I became a psychologist. In addition, I stayed quiet about my post-traumatic stress because even my profession, they believe that you cannot be totally healthy and help people if you have a mental condition. So I kept quiet until one day, one of my groups, who some of them are in this audience today, I call fondly my wise guys, asked me, Dr. Sabin, do you have post-traumatic stress? I was dumbfounded. I didn't know what to say or do. Do I lie? And I'm terrible at lying. Or can I tell the truth? That day, a wonderful group of 12 veterans changed my life. I came out of the closet. I'm very thankful I did, and I owe them much gratitude. So all of you who are here, my wise guys, thank you so much for saving my life in some words and making it better. Okay, I have to have a drink of water before this one. This is my hardest story. Then I'll go on to some good stories. Now let's shift from me to my beloved son Keith. For our son Keith entered the Army, he went in as an exuberant young man, eager to do his part. He had always been a happy, outgoing child who knew no strangers. Since he was a small boy, he had an Army helmet. He wore every day outdoors to play. He and the boys would play Army, as they say, even as young teens. They would take sticks and make guns and do the whole thing. Have the camos, I mean, it was incredible. Then he spent his 4 years in high school in the Navy ROTC. All he ever wanted to do was go in the Army, and he did at 18. Later, he was sent to the Persian Gulf War. When he returned from the Persian Gulf War, the old Keith was gone, and the new Keith was a stranger who had left one war and was now fighting another war. A war inside of him called post-traumatic stress. Upon his return, he was already self-medicating with alcohol to be able to sleep. Suddenly, we were faced with behaviors that we had not experienced before. Hypervigilance to the point of paranoia, alcohol, extreme anxiety with his hands always shaking, unable to sleep, horrific flashbacks, night sweats. How familiar this was for me and heartbreaking as a mother. We did learn in dealing with Keith, and this is a major problem with many of our vets. And some of you here at vets might believe me, might agree with me. I always tell people who listen to me, take what I say that fits, keep it, and throw the rest away. But what we learned, and I believe this of many major problems, many of our veterans, and with ordinary people as well who suffer post-traumatic stress, silence is not gold. Silence is the most insidious weapon of post-traumatic stress. Keith, as many with post-traumatic stress, would not talk about his experiences in war. He would talk about other issues in life, but not what went on in the war. There wasn't a program he didn't go to treat his alcoholism, and he confronted that issue many times. In the latter stage of his post-traumatic stress does have stages, make no mistake. He was prescribed psych medicines by the VA, which only served to intensify his symptoms. He became more depressed and his behavior became more erratic and explosive. But there was still the silence of what was really at the core of his post-traumatic stress, his symptom intensity. Like so many veterans in despair, he could go home and bunker down and avoid contact with anyone, including families, for 4 to 5 days. On January 24th of 2013, Keith was found dead in his apartment, having overdosed on blood pressure medicines, no alcohol, no drugs, and leaving 2 children behind that this day do not understand. Speak from here. And anyway, so I just was told to do this, wrap it up. You want me to read the story behind it? Okay. Okay. Well, then let me get to Then I was going to tell Dalton's story, which is not so good either. You want me to leave that alone too? Okay. Celebration. Okay. Well, this is my celebration. Celebration of people who are fallen. So now I'll talk about Josh's story, which is the story of hope, where one can conquer, and he's 24 years old, and he was our grandson. He was a combat engineer with 2 tours in Afghanistan. In addition, was at Fort Hood during the terrible terrorist shooting. But he was running late, so he was not in the area where it took place. On his first tour, he experienced being blown up by an IED, and as he was attempting to defuse, he was thrown over a half a mile from the scene. Thank God he was in that buster, as they call it, the machine that defuses IEDs. And he, like they said, was recently honorably discharged on medical because he suffered traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress, and severe hearing loss. He's almost deaf. And during his deployments, he talked to me through Messenger. And upon his return, he spoke very often. And he began to come and talk about the silence. And what he did is he did everything he could. He did CPT, he did PE, he had his own fields. And today he's going into a project at the University of Texas, specialized treatment. He is becoming a survivor. And as he had told me, he said, I don't want to be like my Uncle Pete. I want to survive this. And he is. And he is going to college. He has purpose. He's doing great. Finally, life made up of choices. If you have post-traumatic stress, the choice is one of hope or despair. So tell people these stories I have shared from my heart. Begin to break the silence of all veterans. All it really takes is the ability to listen without judgment. Let us all come together as a community, helping break the silence. Give the message of hope. No veteran should walk alone dealing with post-traumatic stress. Vet-to-vet goals are many. However, the main theme is to help veterans in any way we can. Be advocates in order to create empathy and understanding what our beloved veterans are going through. So as a community, let us break the silence. And thank you for listening and allowing me today to speak about it. And if I disappointed somebody, I'm sorry. But this is the life of veterans who have fallen. And we are here to celebrate. There's no doubt in my mind we're here to celebrate. But we must remind, and we must support the ones who are standing. And know and understand that they're standing with a lot of help, or they're standing with a lot of pain. And don't forget it. And I just want to say this one story so you understand why I told you this. I went to a funeral and spoke. And there was 174 active military men and women at this funeral. This adult, a young man who took his life at 26. Nobody there wanted to hear about suicide. Nobody there talked about having to have post-traumatic stress. So I got up to that funeral and I spoke. I spoke very quietly. I spoke about Dalton. I was the only one that knew his story. Nobody knew he had post-traumatic stress in his family. They were shocked that he was gone. And after it was over with, that platoon leader for that 174 people, he came up to me. He shook my hand. He pulled me and he said, Dr. Saban, thank you so much for speaking on behalf of us. Nobody knows what we go through. And we are so grateful that you told the truth about what really happened. And we and all of us here want to congratulate you. And that's what our veterans want. It is a time of hope, but it's also a time to come to an understanding of what truth is and what's really happening with a lot of our veterans. So I thank you. Thank you for indulging me, and I wish you all a great Memorial Day.
Thank you, Dr. Saban. At this time, I would like to introduce Councilmember Abby McGee, who's going to read the names of the newly engraved.
Allow me the honor to do a roll call of our newly engraved names on the Veterans Wall. And I do hope I give these names of veterans the justice that they deserve. Stephen Wayne Coppola, Marines. Clyde L. Edgison Sr., Navy. Robert Charles Essex, Air Force. Gregory Michael Gorecki, Navy. Bonaventura Mario Izzo, Navy. Charles Edward McAvoy, Navy. Douglas James Retman, Army. Denise Selsky, Navy. Jewel Douglas Shockley, Navy. And Vincent J. Valerio, Coast Guard. If you could join me in a round of applause for them. Veterans to please stand and be recognized for another round of applause. Thank you so much. Please remain standing because I'm going to ask that everyone stand for the placing of the wreath and tax. Thank you so much.
If I could get Dr. Sabin and Stephen, and if the rest of the newly engraved would walk with us, that would be great. Thank you.
I'm just trying to be a father, raise a daughter and a son, be a lover to their mother, everything to everyone. Up and at 'em bright and early, I'm all business in my suit. Yeah, I'm dressed up for success, from my head down to my boots. I don't do it for the money, I got bills that I can't pay. I don't do it for the glory, I just do it anyway. Providing for our future's my responsibility. Yeah, I'm real good under pressure, being all that I can be. I can't call in sick on Monday when the weekend's been too strong. I just work straight through the holidays, sometimes all night long. But you can bet that I'll stand ready when the wolf growls at the door. Yeah, I'm solid, yeah, I'm steady, yeah, I'm true down to the core. And I will always do my duty, no matter what the price. I've counted up the cost, and I know the sacrifice. Oh, and I don't want to die for you, but if dying's asked of me, I'll bear that cross with honor, 'cause freedom don't come free. I'm an American soldier, an American. Besides my brothers and my sisters, I will proudly take a stand. When liberty's in jeopardy, I'll always do what's right. I'm out here on the front lines, sleep in peace tonight. American soldier, I'm an American soldier. An American soldier, an American. Besides my brothers and my sisters, I will proudly take a stand. When liberty's in jeopardy, I'll always do what's right. I'm out here on the front lines, sleep in peace tonight. American soldier, I'm an American, an American, an American soldier.
Please remain standing as we retire the colors.
Detail, attention. Forward, march. Detail, hold. Right, base. Retrieve, colors. Left, base. Forward, march.
an exciting announcement to make. I was given a note to pass along by Dave Tilke that Veterans of Foreign Wars is looking at establishing a post here in Oldsmar. So if you're interested, after we conclude, please stop by the food over there and speak to Dave. Dave, raise your hand. I think everyone knows who you are, but there he is. He moves around. I can't keep up. What a beautiful ceremony today. My name is Eric Seidel. I'm one of your council members, and I have the privilege of closing today's ceremonies. But before I do, I want to just take a moment to say thank you to our city staff. Thank you to all the volunteers who put this on, but I especially want to thank our Veterans Advisory Committee who worked so hard. It's you would think not, but it can be a difficult job because there's a lot of passion that goes into these events, and they stand firm and they bring these things together, and they're all work and no pay, and we just want to give them a round of applause, I think, to say thank you once again for everything that they do. We do appreciate you. We appreciate you very much. Just a reminder, when we conclude in a moment here, there will be refreshments and some food over there. I think we have hot dogs. It just doesn't get any more American than that. So please, please enjoy yourself. We want to thank you on behalf of the city for coming out and attending today's event, ceremonies. I think today it's probably more important than ever that we make sure we let our veterans know how we as Americans really feel about them. It's so important. And I'm going to close with a poem that I found. The author is unknown, so I did take a little bit of liberties with it because the author is unknown. And the poem is entitled, In Your Honor. Unselfishly, you left your fathers, your mothers, you left behind your sisters, your brothers, leaving your beloved children, husbands and wives. You put on hold your dreams, your lives. On foreign soil, you found yourself planted to fight for those whose freedom you granted. Without your sacrifice, their cause would be lost, but you carried on, no matter the cost. Many horrors you had endured and seen. Many faces have haunted your dreams. You cheered as your enemies littered the ground, and you cried as your brothers fell all around. When it was over, you came back home. Some were left with memories to face all alone. Some found themselves in the company of friends as their crosses cast shadows across our great land. Those who survived were forever scarred, emotionally, physically, some permanently marred. Those who did not now sleep eternally beneath the ground they had given their lives to keep free. With my hand upon my heart, I feel pride, respect. My reverence is revealed. As these tears stream down my upturned face, as our flag flies above us in her glory and grace. Freedom was the gift that you unselfishly gave. Pain and death was the price too many paid. Every day, I give my utmost admiration to those who fought to defend our great nation. May God bless you. May He bless our veterans. May He keep His arms around those who are serving today. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you so much for coming. This concludes our program.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks for watching. My battery's about to die, so I'm going to end it. I hope everyone has a happy Veterans Day weekend. If you're watching this video back, please like and subscribe. I plan on having much ahead, but thanks everyone. It's about to die. Thank you, Wes. See you, buddy. Gonna get some hot dogs. Sounds good.